and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to Germany. We're going to make some Jagerschnitzel. This is my husband's favorite meal, so he loves it when I make it, so he's going to be excited today. So to start off, we got some mushrooms sauteing over there on the stove, getting ready, and over here we got just pork sticks. You just buy them in the regular grocery store. They come in a package, usually about 5 or 6, and they're super cheap. Pork is probably the cheapest meat you can buy. I got all 5 of these sticks for $3.59. So it's a really good meal for a tight budget. So I'm just going to season these with salt and pepper. So to that, we're just going to add our pork sticks. Give the mushrooms a little stir. Push them over to the side. And add our pork steaks. And these, they're so thin that they cook really quickly. Just a couple of minutes on each side. Get this going. Now I have my oven set on the lowest setting in the world. It's 170 degrees. And so once the pork sticks are done cooking, we're going to put them in the oven to keep warm, and we're going to make our sauce. So everything's cooking in the pot. And to start off, I put in about 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter with a little bit of oil. You add oil to your butter when you're sauteing, so it raises the temperature of your butter, so you can saute at a higher temperature and it won't burn. Because you really want the butter in there and the oil, because it gives it lots of extra flavor. So just a few more minutes on this, and they'll be done. And if you're worried about cooking pork all the way through, our pork nowadays is so good, it doesn't have any bacteria in it like it used to, so you don't have to make sure it's totally white all the way through. It can be slightly pink, but if you're worried at all, cook it all the way through. 160 degrees is what they recommend, and you're good to go with your pork. So these here are pretty much done. So I'm going to take out the pork. And we're going to put it in the oven. And again, it's just on a low heat to keep warm, and we're not cooking it in there. And we're going to take out the mushrooms. So those mushrooms are nicely sauteed. And I have about a good tablespoon of oil still in there. If I didn't have this much in here, I would add more butter at this time. You want 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil in the bottom of your pan. And to it, we're going to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of flour. I don't have an exact measurement on this. It's what they call method cooking. You just kind of eyeball it. So you want about, equal ratios to butter to fat, or to fat to flour. And we're just going to cook this until it gets kind of golden brown. And this is what they call a roux. So we're making a roux. So I can see this is getting done. So to this, I'm going to add milk and a little bit of heavy cream. So I have about a cup or so of milk. I'm going to let this cook. And the flour is going to thicken up this milk. And if you see it boiling and you're like, oh, it's getting too thick, then you just add more milk until you get it to the consistency that you want. So I can tell that's a little bit too thick, so I'm going to add some more milk. I'm going to open up a new container. So add just a little bit more. You want it thick, but not too thick. There we go. Perfect. And also at this point, we're going to add some salt and pepper, just to taste. And if you go to any German restaurant, this will be on the menu. And it's all similar. It all has mushrooms and pork. It's a pork steak. And then the last thing we'll add to make it nice and rich and creamy is some heavy whipping cream. So we're adding our heavy whipping cream. Just one small container. And mix that in. And just let it heat through. And I'm going to taste it for seasoning. Needs a little bit more salt and pepper. And then we're going to add everything back into the pot. So we'll put in the mushrooms. We'll add back in our pork. Turn that off. And as the pork sat there and rested, the juices came out of it, so you want to add all that back in there too. Smells and looks so good. There we go. And then to serve with this, we're gonna I made earlier some German noodles called Spätzle. They're these little egg noodles. And you can make them yourself. I make my own from scratch all the time, and they're super simple to make. They're just eggs, flour, and water, and a little bit of milk. Or you could do like I did today, and I bought a box. And it's just like pasta. It comes dehydrated, and you put it in some salted boiling water, cook it for about 20 minutes, and they taste almost as good as homemade. So let's try this out now. So we're going to get a little bit of Spätzle. Grab me a pork steak. And grab a spoon. Spoon over some of this yummy mushroom gravy. Let's try this out. But we gotta get one more thing. You cannot have German food without a German beer. So today I got a Franziskaner. It's a German wheat beer. Pop this open. Get it in our glass. Let's cut into our steak. Little steak, a little Spätzle. So good. The pork is tender, and you can taste the mushrooms and the salt and pepper and the creaminess of the whipping cream. It's so good. And then you gotta wash it down with the beer. So good. Germans know how to make beer and food. So remember, make it simple, but make it with love and pros.